Welcome back guys, on this video on how to change the rear diff oil on a BMW E39 M5. So the reason I'm doing this is it got mentioned I had a bit of a diff leak which was worrying me slightly. You can see the fill and drain hole. First up, I'm upside down hand holding this camera, so sorry if it's a bit strange orientation wise and a bit wobbly, but we've got a bit of leakage there through the diff seal, and here is the top fill hole. Golden rule is you always make sure you can undo that before you undo the drain hole, otherwise you'll be stuffed. Here's what we're going to use specifically for an M5. The book says 1.2 litres, we've got 2 there, and you need an H14 hex plug and some way of getting the oil in, we'll come on to that, and some general cleanup tools. So yeah, H14 and 1.2 litres. So undoing the fill hole upside down here is fine with the H14 on an extender. The fill plug came undone okay. I expect someone's probably topped it up before, no problem doing that. But the drain hole, the lower one, is too close to my rather large Hayward and Scott exhaust, so that H14 is not going to go in there. I did give up for a while and just top the diff back up, and actually it only took 100 ml of oil, so that was good, it hadn't leaked much. But then I thought, no, we can get around this, we just need a shorter plug. Quick trip to Euro Car Parts, laser part 1580 is short enough that it will fit into that gap, and you also don't need to use a socket, you just use a 19 ml spanner around the hex middle to turn it. Quick little trip out, got that kit, 15 quid, and here it is, it fits on fine. The drain plug was very stiff, I'm not sure it had ever been done. I think someone's probably topped up the diff oil before but not fully changed it, so I really had to wrench on this, but yeah, there it goes. That fits nicely into the gap between the exhaust and the rear diff there. So once it's draining, onto the fun messy part. If you've ever tried to get oil into small gearboxes that are at funny angles, it's fun. So I tried a few different things here. The syringe, the gauge wasn't big enough. Then I was just going to use this squeeze method, but in the end my neighbour popped up and said, do you want to buy my oil pump? Which was absolutely amazing. I think it's like 30 quid, Aldi Lidl. I should have bought one when it was on offer. So that's the input, that's what's going to suck the oil in, and that's the output, that's going to pump it into the diff. And then it was a case of just setting it up, connecting it to a battery. Here it is all drained, so obviously put the drain plug back in, do that up, and then you can just sit back and let it pump in there like that. It's slow, probably took 10-15 minutes to do it all, but it's clean and you don't have to do it, and you don't get covered in expensive diff oil, you don't want to waste this stuff. So you can just sort of sit back and relax, quite therapeutic, lying under your M5 watching it do all the work for you. This is when you know it's full, when it starts to dribble out the fill hole. It's as technical as that. Now, as I say, the book said 1.2 litres, but I went way past that and I was getting a bit worried. But actually, I then measured the oil I drained off in the pan, and that was 1.5 litres. So I'm not sure why it needed more, but I did that. So there it is, all cleaned up, plug's done, go for a drive, do a couple of full lock turns to make sure the diff oil gets into both the axles. There you are, sorted. Hope that helps. Like and subscribe if it did.